Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, I'm Rachel. I'm a life coach and mentor with Creative Pathways Coaching, and the website is at creativepathwayscoaching.com, just in the link down below in the description. So there's a lot I want to cover in this video today, and if you haven't already, please subscribe down below, and while you're down there, like. It all helps to support my channel. And please stick around to the end, because I'll be teaching you a technique that helps with getting the love that you want from a visualization perspective. Most of us want to share our life with someone, to have that intimate connection with someone that we feel that we are loved and belong. And this is a human thing, we all at some stage of our life feel that need to have that. So why is it so difficult to get? Why is it so difficult to achieve? There's so many books and blogs and YouTube videos that talk about the best way to do this. This difficulty has a lot to do with the fact that we look outwards for the answers rather than inwards. We put our control out there, out in the universe, out in the environment. So we wait for outside influence to create love within our lives. So we put the control out there in the hands of fate, in the hands of others, in the hands of timing. So we put it all out there, hoping that one day someone will walk into our life that's perfect for us. So we actually allow outside factors to create the love that we need in our lives. So a little heads up here. We unconsciously create what we receive in our lives, whether it be the successes or the failures. Negative manifestations are created by fear. So when we actually manifest some negative stuff in our lives, it's usually because of some fear. So we're being triggered by something that then will create a negativity in our lives. So that could be the fear of being alone, the fear of failure. There are so many examples here, but we're not always aware of what triggers that fear. So it's important to look within and to look and get to know yourself and be aware of what triggers you and what triggers those manifestations. So what triggers you for positive manifestations, but also what triggers you for negative manifestations. So this helps to increase our awareness of who we are and what we need. And also as well, it actually decreases our ability to self-sabotage, because a lot of the time when something negative is in our life, we've created it through some fear. So to actually eliminate self-sabotage, so then we're in the best possible position to create love in our lives. So the first step, start looking within yourself. Start asking yourself the question, why do you want a relationship? Why is that so important? So really be honest with yourself here. If you can't be honest with yourself, you're certainly not going to be honest with other people. So it's important to be very clear with yourself. Have awareness of why you want a relationship. Is it because, let me think, you don't want to be alone? You're scared that one day when you're older you'll be alone and you'll die alone. For a lot of people, that's a big thing. Another can be feeling a void in their life that they know it's missing. They're not quite sure why or wherefore. So having someone in their life can actually help fill a void that's there. It also can be the expectations of others, family, society, friends. We live in a society where being in a relationship is actually incredibly important. Also as well, it can be the need to be loved by someone else. So that sense of belonging, security, but feeling that the only way to feel loved is to be loved by someone else. Also as well, to feel settled or be taken care of, to have someone who will have your back, take care of you. But look, the list can go on. There are so many different examples of this. So start to get to really become aware of why you want a relationship. And this will give you a clue as to why the difficulties, why you're having these difficulties. So using the examples I just mentioned, let's have a look and a bit of an explanation here as to, we'll go through one by one. So number one, when we're expecting others to give us that happiness, when this occurs, we're actually at the mercy of other people. So again, what I mentioned right at the start, our happiness then becomes in the hands of someone else. And whether these people are meaning to or not, whether they have good intentions or bad intentions, you are really setting yourself up to be hurt, because you're putting your happiness in the hands of someone else. As well, this can put a huge amount of pressure on the person that you're expecting to provide you with that happiness. And that pressure can then put pressure on the relationship. So when that person feels that that your happiness is dependent on how they are with you, this can mean for a lot of people they're not as honest, they're not as forthright in a relationship, and this of course then has its impacts on the relationship. What is really important, one of the best sort of stands to take when you're entering a relationship, is that you've already got your happiness. You're not actually expecting that person to provide you with happiness per se. What you're actually maybe expecting instead is that you've got happiness already. They can just enhance it. Is the example of, working in a shop where you've got a till and you've got money in the till. Now, if you've ever worked in retail, we all know there's always a float there to start with. So when you open at the start of the day, there's always money in there. There would be, $200 already in there. And then, of course, you sell stuff and, of course, it adds more money into the till. So your happiness is a bit like that. Start off with a float. Your happiness that you've actually produced yourself, you've already got your level of happiness. And anybody who enters your life actually just enhances it. So the same theory goes with regards to feeling loved as with feeling happiness. If you've already got that baseline or that float of feeling loved already, that person will only enhance it. It means you're not so dependent on another person or other people to feel loved and to be loved. You've already got that feeling of love there already. Okay, the next example is the expectations of other people. This is again about external factors influencing your happiness. And whether their intentions are good or not, you've got to do what feels right for you. So if you're feeling that at this time you don't want to be in a relationship, but you have your family and friends who are there going, oh, we think that you should, or we would feel better if you're in a relationship, you've got to address that within yourself there. This is about what should feel right to you. So stay connected with what you need and what is right for you. Again, the next one is that security question, the security example. And that can be about creating a family, having children, having someone who takes care of you. The taking care of part, again, comes back to, an external factor, controlling your happiness. In regards to family, you can, if you're waiting for Mr. Right or Mrs. Right to turn up so that you can have children and you can have that security of a family, he or she may turn up tomorrow, but he or she may not turn up at all. And you're again leaving your happiness in external factors there. Maybe instead create your own family. Particularly if you're a female, it makes it a little bit easier than a male. But get a fur baby. Create a level of security within your environment that you can do for yourself. Whether that security is also financial, for example. So that could mean, saving up for a deposit for a house or a flat. Creating that security in the way that you can do that without waiting for a relationship to do that for yourself. Step 2. Get comfortable with being single. This is particularly so for individuals who go from one relationship to another. How are you supposed to know what you really want when you're always part of a couple? Take the time out from the relationship game for a little while, just to get to know you and what you need and what you want and what's going to work for you. It's very hard to do this when you're in a relationship because you've got to consider the other person's needs and wants. You're not just considering your own wants, you're considering the relationship wants when you're in a relationship. Also as well, when you become single and you become comfortable with being single, you actually let go of the need for a relationship. And it's interesting how human beings work. When you let go of a need of something, it's when it tends to flow into your life. And I could think of many examples here, and I'm sure that you can as well. So the need, I think I'll use myself as an example here. There have been times when being single and actually not wanting a relationship at that time, and dating people and making it very clear that I was happy in my own skin and happy in the position I was in. And it's interesting how the people I was dating, the males I was dating in my life, tended to want a relationship more because I didn't. Now, I don't think that's necessarily because I didn't want it. I think it's more about because I didn't have a need. There wasn't a sense of neediness there. So they felt more comfortable with me and comfortable with just being with me. Maybe there was less pressure, less pressure to be picked up on, so less neediness there. So that doesn't mean that you have to lie and pretend that you don't want a relationship when you do, because I don't think that that's going to work. I think that just generally being comfortable with who you are and where you are, and just being comfortable and starting to look around and look at what you can do and look at what you want and what you need, and feeling that confidence of getting to know you as a person before stepping out into another relationship. So then it's less pressure for other people when they enter into your world. So certainly let go of that need, and the great way to let go of that need is to get comfortable with being single. Okay, step 3. So get in touch with what you really need from a relationship. What does that mean? Some people need more intimacy than others. I don't just mean sex, I mean closeness. So for some people, they may need more space, they may need more freedom, while others need more closeness. So when you are aware of how much you need, and part of that is also being in previous relationships that you've learned what you like and what you don't like. If you become aware of what you need, you can then communicate that effectively. I, as an individual, need a lot of freedom. I have a very good social life. I'm also very busy with work. So I need a partner that I see maybe once or twice a week. That's what would suit me. If I met a guy who maybe wanted a girlfriend who was around a lot more, that may not actually work for the both of us. He may feel that he doesn't see me enough. I would feel the pressure to spend more time with him when I was not comfortable. So this is just an example here, but this is how it's important to actually understand and have an awareness of what you need, so then you can actually then communicate that. Also as well, this eliminates when you're starting into a relationship and even during a relationship. Human beings have a tendency to either, to play being right. And so when someone has a need that the other person is not fulfilling, they make them wrong, or it can be the other way around. So this eliminates that, what you call making the other person wrong, because this is about incompatibility. And if you can start to remove that tendency towards incompatibility, that will make a difference in regards to attracting someone who is going to make you happy. As well, this also eliminates the possibility of two people coming together who, yes, they're fallen in love, but they're incompatible. And so one person is waiting for the other person to change, when that person is the way they are. And that, I will talk more about incompatibility further on in this series, incompatibility relationships, but this can eliminate some of the issues here. Also as well, when you become aware of what you need, this also tends to eliminate the tendency to try and recreate yourself into what your potential partner wants you to be. But what we're actually doing is creating someone else for them, someone that they want to be with, rather than who we actually are as a person and what our needs and wants are. So this is again why it is so important to get in touch with your needs and your wants, and then be able to communicate that when you do enter a relationship. Step 4, how much do you value yourself? This is particularly so with regards to people that you attract. If you find that you have a habit of attracting a certain type of person who doesn't respect you or value you, so if you've noticed in previous relationships that that's been the case, Perhaps that has a little bit to do with how much you value you. The quality of what you attract in people, whether it be relationships or friendships, is completely reflective on how you value you. It's a bit like a mirror. So what you tolerate from others is what you receive. So again, so what you tolerate from others is what you receive. So if you have a habit of doing more in a relationship than the other person, and you find that the other person has a tendency to take you for granted, this is usually an indication that you don't value yourself. So to attract a person of quality or value, whatever you discern that actually means, you need to look within yourself and you need to value yourself as a person. You need to work on yourself and begin to see yourself as quality and high value. Step 5, visualize your relationship. Visualize the relationship you want from a potential partner. You can write this down. It's actually good to write it down and get it really, really concrete. You need to concentrate not just on the qualities of the person, but also on how they make you feel. An example of this could be, I feel supported, desired, validated when I'm with this person. So imagine a world where this relationship exists. So really go into it, details. You want lots and lots of details in this. What it smelled like, what it tastes like, everything. You want to really, really visualize what this relationship, almost like it is real. So this leads me to the technique I mentioned at the start of the video. So this is called Bedtime Visualization. The secret to visualization, the most effective form of visualization, is to actually do it before you go to bed. So what you need to do is probably a couple of minutes, probably while you're in bed. So do this every night. So when you get into bed, just before you turn out the light, lie in bed and imagine, really visualize this world that I just spoke about before, how it feels like, how it tastes like, all the details there. So every night, you want to do this every night before you go to sleep. So this is a regular thing that you just get into the habit of doing, and it's the same visualization every night. And you can use this visualization not just for relationships, you can use it for other things. I use it every night, but because I fall asleep very quickly sometimes, I'm not sure how long I do it for. It's recommended to do it for about 5 or 10 minutes if you can. And if you do find it difficult to go to sleep, you can do it for longer if you want to. Imagine that your wish has already been fulfilled. So that's why it's important to firstly do it before you go to sleep, but also to imagine it already being fulfilled. There's not a sense of lack when this occurs. So this technique is based on a book called Feeling is the Secret by Neville Goddard. A very small book. It's about a 43-page paperback book, so it can be read in less than an hour, and it's a great book just to give you that clear idea about visualization and the most effective way to visualize. So if you guys like this video, please like and subscribe down below for future content. I put out a video every week, so you don't want to miss anything. If there's any comments, any feedback with regards to this video, or any suggestions for future videos, please mention it in the comments below. Alright, I will see you next week.